After our first road course race of the 2025 One-Up Nitro National Series season, we re-rack and do it all over again for round number 7 of the season. Another new road course race for this series, and it's at a track we have never been to before on the big island of the Aloha State. We are here for race number 7 of 25 here in Hawaii, and alongside me to bring you all the action for today's race is Duke Anzac once again. Boy, this place is like there's nothing similar about this place compared to Sonoma last week. Much bigger racetrack, loads of undulation, high speeds. Fuel savings going to be critical here today because I believe everybody's going to end up needing 3 stops to make it to the end of these 19 laps. We're going into the unknown today, but a lot to be looking forward to, I'm sure.
Yeah, honestly, this is a race that I am really, really looking forward to, especially in comparison to a lot of these other races we've had. We go to these tracks and we kind of understand, what's the deal here? What's going to happen when we go to these other places that we've been to before? But here we are, and this is a fantastic place. How often do you get to race on, sacred land? This is absolutely incredible. And 3 pit stops today? Are you kidding me? This is going to be an all-team effort for whoever ends up winning this race. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch.
Absolutely, because we have a lot in store. These guys expect to only be able to make about 5 to 6 laps on each tank of fuel, and the tires don't seem to be a big concern here. These guys can go way faster the longer they go into a run. So the overcut may be the way to go today. Who knows how this is going to shape up. A quick look at the top 20 overall after Sonoma. Ryan Reed took a huge hit in the points after his first lap collision that took him out of that race. He lost the points lead to Aiden Clare. Reed now sits 2 points back as we head into today. Angel Gutierrez and Mac Johnson, 3rd and 4th. They're in great positions today to make some gains. But further back, you got guys like David Meske, Alexa Lushon, Eric DeMax. They're all huddled around that cut line, and they all start in pretty good positions today. Something's got to give between them.
Yeah, I agree. It's just this point situation continues to grow and change and morph each week. And that's the best part about kind of that early to mid-season Nitro National Series racing. It's got this undulation to it. Everybody is kind of changing around in the points, and you never really know what's going to happen next. And that is exactly what I'm seeing when I look at the points here. I mean, we've got a top 10 that are all within 41 points of the leader. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we were talking about how the leader was 41 points ahead of 2nd place in the standings, and it's just everything changes so fast. And I think that today's race could possibly be a race that somebody will be able to set themselves apart and possibly really climb the ranks.
And now we take a quick look at the starting lineup for today's 19 laps of action, and boy, Jake McMillan could not have found a better time to go on a hot streak. This is his 2nd consecutive pole in the Nitro National Series, and he was unable to capitalize on it last week, so hopefully today, at least for him, hopefully, he'll be able to convert this pole into his maiden Nitro National Series win, and finally complete that Triple Crown. But he's got a lot of stiff competition around him. Alexa Lushon, always strong on these types of tracks, starts 2nd. Eric DeMax, we saw him get a podium at Sonoma. He starts 3rd, and you can never really count out Cameron Brennan either. He starts 4th. Ryan Reed, looking to rebound, completes the top 5. But with that all being said, we've got a lot of guys making one-off appearances here today. Justin Henley's back in the Nitro National Series for the rest of the season in that 47 car for the RSAG team. And Austin Liang only a few spots ahead of him. They were teammates last time out, but now he moves on to Venta Motorsports on loan from the RSAG team, starting 13th. Got a lot of big stories to keep our eye on, but I seriously think it may be decided by who gets to that first turn in the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be fascinating to see with the pit stops today as well. It's going to be a fantastic race, and I cannot wait to get this thing started.
with a lot of passing opportunities around this place, a lot of long straights leading into hard braking zones. This seems like a great opportunity to get some moves made, but we're only going to find out over the course of the next 19 laps. So with that being said, it's the 1UP Nitro National Series race from the big island of Hawaii, and the green flag getting ready to get us underway, rocking and rolling. Green flag coming at you in just a short while. Getting set for a new venture into the unknown. It is McMillan and Lucian on the front row. Get ready to rock and roll in the state of Hawaii. We are almost there. Now the green flag is out and the cars can get to accelerating. McMillan gets a good launch off the line, but I think Lucian's going to stay as close as she can for this long right-hander that leads onto a very undulating straight that comes right after.
Yeah, and that's a really long straightaway with the start-finish line a long ways down it. There's a move from the third place, and we've got 3 wide possibly going into this next corner.
Yeah, Cameron Brennan from 4th on the grid took a big lunge up the inside, but it looks as though McMillan is going to hang on. Lucian, and they just through 3 and 4. This is a very accident-prone corner, but it looks like everybody made it through unscathed. That's the best news we could hope for through that section of the racetrack.
Yeah, and this track is absolutely fantastic. I love the hills and the elevation changes, and so does Alexa Lucian, now to the lead for the 31 car.
What a run from Alexa Lucian already, from 2nd on the grid to the race lead in the span of only a few corners through turn 8 now. Up through onto the runoff. That is legal. You can run on that green bit through turns 8 and 9 before braking really hard for the slowest corner on the track, the hairpin. That's turn 10.
Yeah, and this is a really fascinating section of the track coming up here. We've got another couple of big sweeping turns coming up, and Alexa Lucian continues to stay in the lead right now, just ahead of Jake McMillan, who lost it on the start of the race here. We're still on this first lap. You're right, these laps are incredibly long, but there's so much going on.
Absolutely, as the field snakes its way through turn 12, over the crest, before going through the wicked fast chicane that completes the lap. 13, 14, through turn 15 to complete the first lap. It is going to be Alexa Lucian who leads the first lap, but Jake McMillan's not going to give this up without a fight. He pulls alongside the 31, and as they complete the first tour, they're only 46 one-thousandths apart.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that move that Jake McMillan just made and now is possibly going to be able to make a pass through turn 1. Might have to wait until we get to turn 2 to complete it, but I'll tell you what, that move that you can make out of turn 15 is going to be critical to remember at the end of this race.
And here comes AJ Zhao down the inside, and the 12. He started this race down in 6th place. He's already up to 3rd. He passed Cameron Brennan, passed his teammate Eric DeMax, and now he's right on the bumper of the leaders as we did have an incident on the opening lap. 4 cars look to be out of the race already. Chantley Daniel looks like he's got some damage from that as well. Will Parrish. But these 4, Andrew Langley, Skylar Taylor, Mike Edwards, and Maston Rimmel, looks like they won't even get a lap in today.
Oh, that is absolutely brutal news for all of those drivers. And here's a still raging battle for the lead. We're going to get replays after the race because we have no cautions here because we're at a road course. And look at that run that Alexa Lucian got around the outside of that corner. That was incredible. And the battle is on for 2nd now.
Here comes Zhao now under McMillan. Like you said, we never get a break in the action at these road courses until the race is over. So we will get your replays of that what looked like a very big collision between those cars once this race has reached its conclusion. But for now, Alexa Lucian keeping out in front, and now Zhao moves past McMillan into 2nd place. Now Brennan on McMillan for 3rd.
Man, McMillan is having a really tough lap. It looked like it could have possibly been to the lead through turn 1 for that 21 car, and now that we're back on the front straightaway, he's moved all the way back to 3rd place, and he was just under fire for 4th as well. So this is going to be a tough race because you have so many parts of this track where it switches the momentum, and you want to be on the inside or the outside, and it's just you have to be careful because if you can't complete that pass, you might end up getting passed by several others from behind.
Yeah, that's the name of the game here at the circuit. It is momentum. As Zhao dives up the inside, takes a lot of curb going through turn 2. You can take the curb here at a couple of places, but not there. You're going to get into the grass if you do it there. That's going to cost Zhao a little bit of time. Lucian pulls clear of the lead once again. And now McMillan back on the charger. Now, remember back to Sonoma, and at this point in the race, Jake McMillan had a 5-second lead. Look at what we've got here today.
This is absolutely incredible. This track is putting on an incredible show right now. And look at this. The 12 car continues to find places to try to make passes over Alexa Lucian. I fear it might be just a matter of time between now and when the 12 car will end up in the lead. And look, we've had a bit of an incident with some other cars.
Yeah, those were the two cars still continuing from that lap 1 incident. They're just a little ways off, but they're still running. 4 cars knocked out as a result of that, and that's a really big shame for them. Like we said, we'll get you a look at what happened there once this race wraps up. But that might be a while, because these, like you said, these laps take a while. Pole time was in 1 minute 52. I would expect us to go a little faster than that in the race itself. But McMillan now goes through turn 12 alongside the 12 of Zhao. But look at Zhao straight line that. He straight lined that chicane perfectly to get back ahead of the 21, holding serve as Lucian completes her 3rd lap in the lead of this race.
Yeah, there's just enough room for one car in that chicane section there to go straight through it. Everybody else would have to be doing some turning. So wisely, the 21 backed out, avoided collision, and continues to race for another day. Meanwhile, this could be a big move right here for the 12 car going to the inside.
Yep, here comes Zhao now, down into turn 2. This is a pretty popular passing spot, but it doesn't look like it's, well, it might work, but he had to take some curb through there, and now he's onto the grass a slight bit. So, but it did force Lucian to take a wider line through turn 5 and 6, as it looks as though Tegan Fox going to make a very early pit stop in this race, and yeah, we said pit stops are going to be aplenty here today. I didn't expect them, though, for another lap or 2.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think that that's a fascinating strategy. Now, the amount of laps in this race is interesting with our 5 to 6 lap window that we have here, because there's 19 laps. So you can afford to possibly short pit one of these runs. Why would you do that? Possibly to get some clean air, possibly to get out of this pack and just have some good lap time all by yourself on the track. We'll see if that pays off for those drivers.
Well, we said at the top of the show, it might be an overcut kind of race, because the tires do not seem to be losing that much grip out there, and they're setting fast laps all the time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, as Zhao, once again, down the inside at turn 12.
That time. It looks like it's going to work this time.
Down through the chicane, he's going to be forced to cede position as Lucian now completes the pass, and considering how rough of a time it has been for Alexa Lucian as of late, this is a run this 31 team has absolutely needed and deserved.
Well, and this is incredible right now, because we have not had a single break. Nobody seems to be able to really control this race right now. Everybody is battling pretty much every several corners. We've got side by side for the lead between these 3 cars, and I don't know. I don't know which of these 3 cars is the best right now, because the 12 looks really good consistently, is almost able to make the pass on the 31, but the 31 has just been out front the whole time, so I'm not sure what's going on, and we're going to have pit stops pretty soon.
Yeah, making our way through 4 and 5. I think everybody made it through cleanly again, and I think I saw earlier while we were talking about other things,
corner.
Yeah, Zhao took a defensive line through that corner. That's going to compromise him through turn 8 here, and that might allow Lucian a little more breathing space. But back to what I said earlier, I think that first lap melee took place around turn 12, because I saw a lot of off tracks going on there, and it did not look good from what I saw. Like I said, we'll get you a look at it afterwards, but at this point in time, it has been Alexa Lucian in control.
Yeah, and I think that now we've had, we're looking at the largest lead of the race so far for the 31 car, which really, as you can tell, not a big lead, just the largest that we've seen. And I'll tell you what, the 12 has just looked really, really good in second place and now is gaining time back on the 31. But everybody's starting to string out just a little bit more. And you can see now. Oh, and here's some pit stops for the leaders.
Cameron Brennan, I think, is the first of the leaders to stay out another lap, so so pretty much everyone else is coming into the pit road on lap 5, pretty much what we expected. Going to be a 3-stop race regardless for most of the field, unless if you're able to stretch this, maybe 6-7 laps, you could do it on 2. I'm curious to see if anyone's going to try that strategy, because that could be a way forward here.
Yeah, pitting on that last lap guarantees that you are on the 3-stop strategy, and of course that is the expected strategy. So you really don't have to save a ton of fuel to be able to make this 3-stop strategy work. Just pit 5, 10, 15, then you are good to the end of the race. But here we are, everybody making it out of the pits. Elijah Ironhouse has had an incredible stop. And has the 8 car gained a lot of time, or has the 21 lost a lot of time?
I think it's a little bit of both, because, yeah, look, Eric DeMax is right in the thick of it now, wow. Riley Hooper as well. But you're right, Elijah Ironhouse gained a heap of time on pit road, and he's not the one challenging Lucian.
Yeah, right with Lucian, the leader. So that is, who will be the net leader at the end of this pit stop cycle.
Well, we'll see about that, because I did say overcutting might be the way to go. We'll see if Cameron Brennan is able to make some gains out of this. We'll find out in a little bit.
So, yeah, this is going to be fascinating to see. So if you were able to make it to lap 7 on this pit cycle here, that would mean that you could go 7 laps on your tank of fuel, and then you could go another 7 laps and possibly make it to the end of this race.
Yeah, it'd be a 7-7-6 split right there, which
yes,
that's a big stretch, but if you were to be able to do it, and it doesn't look like anybody is able to do it, so.
Oh, yeah.
Wishful thinking, but it looks like 3 stops is the safe bet.
Yeah, I agree with that. So this 86 car, I think that staying out there is a fine strategy. Obviously, we know with the tires, you're not really going to get a ton faster from tires alone, so the undercut, not a huge worry. However, having that clean air for that extra lap might just be enough for that 86 car to have set a good lap time and possibly gain enough time to overtake these two. Now, Alexa Lucian right now with some clean air on track, and we're going to find out where everybody cycles out here. And I'm still just shocked about what Elijah Ironhouse has done to get up to this position. We'll see where everybody ends up. It looks like, I don't know if the 31's going to continue leading this race. I think that overcut, you were right, is going to be the absolute best move to take the lead. Look at how far ahead the 86 is.
Well, keep in mind as well, he's still getting up to speed. Lucian and Ironhouse are at full song, and yep. I know you said tires aren't that big a deal, but the 31 and the 8s, they are up to full temperature now. The yep. 86 still needs to warm up his, and that's not going to help getting onto the grass, will it?
Look at that. Lucian around the outside, a power move to retake the lead away from Cameron Brennan. That is an incredible move from the 31 car, and you can see Elijah Ironhouse still stuck behind that car. Oh my goodness.
We had a few slow stops in that sequence, Ryan Reed being one of them, and that's not what he needs after Sonoma. It looks like we had some incident involving Jared Shank in the 95. He's going rather slowly through turn 6 and 7 here. He's got a lot of... Oh man, that's tough for Jared Shank. He's got some damage on that car. I'm curious to see where that came from.
Yeah, I saw somebody else in the pack blowing a little bit of smoke there. Hard to tell exactly who it was. And here is, it's 2 cars right there, the 12 and the 21, who were battling for the lead. No longer are. They're not even in the top 10 anymore.
You know, look at all these cars blowing through turn 11, now down to 12, and McMillan is just scything through the pack, trying to gain as much time back as he possibly can after that, what could have been a slow stop for him. And this
leaderboard is going to update here, and it's going to give us a better representation of where everybody actually is. So there's the 31 and the 8, first and second here.
Yeah, they both passed the 86 on that lap, so the 86 still in that third, which is very good. considering he was fourth when the cycle began. And there's the car you saw earlier blowing smoke out. That is Cameron Lessard in the 0. He started this race down in 38th, wasn't really having the best day anyway, as it looks as though I may have found the culprit behind Jared Schenk's damage. It may have been his teammate in this 10 car of Terzic, who won last time out.
Wow. That's the fate of 2 different weeks, but this race has been anything but standard. I mean, I've been seeing some things in this one that you rarely see on racetracks. There's just something special happening today in Hawaii, and right now Alexa Lucian leading the way, but this is just fascinating to see all of these cars. Here's the 11 heading back out onto the track.
Yeah, it looks like he picked up damage elsewhere and is pitted for repair work. Cameron Lessard coming in to retire from the race. He will be our first mechanical DNF of the day. And yeah, I think Terzic and Blair are going to join him out of this race unless they can somehow miraculously get those cars fixed. But I think they got into a collision with the 95, who is still out on the track and is cycling laps,
So I am fascinated by what happened during this pit cycle because Elijah Ironhouse, that car is looking very fast, keeping up with our leader, Alexa Lucian, right now. Came from 14th place on the grid. Now, of course, I wasn't really watching that 8 car to see how far up through the pack he had gotten just before the pit stops, but from 14th to 2nd in this race is an absolutely incredible climb. So a great job from whatever move they made in the pits to make that happen. And then for the 21 and the 12, they're running 7th and 8th now at this point in the race. They were in 2nd and 3rd right behind Alexa Lucian before that pit cycle. So that is a disaster for those 2 cars. We'll see if they are able to continue gaining time through the field and possibly getting back up through the pack. But we see now that some strategy can be played to possibly gain a lot of positions at once.
I said it, didn't I? I said that the strategy could really shape things up. Ooh, that was almost a bit of contact between Brandon Smith and Jake McMillan. The 21 getting into the back of the 92 through that sequence, and I think McMillan wants to really get past these Fingai Saitomi cars in quite a hurry.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and it's just tough right now for the 21. That 92 is being very wide around this track, as is correct. You know, you want to defend your position, you have to do that. I mean, we're driving race cars here. It's not going to be easy for anybody to get up through the pack, and I'll tell you, Jake McMillan is probably starting to get a little bit frustrated at how difficult it actually is, being a little bit farther back in the pack than he was expecting to be at this point in the race.
Yeah, but I think he is faster than the 2 FPM cars. I was gonna say he might try a move into 12, but I didn't see one out of him that time. But with patience, I'm sure he'll find a way past these 2 and get up to the back of Canalca as Ironhouse comes in for an early 2nd stop.
Okay, so that's a little bit interesting here. So I don't mind the strategy. It's obviously not ideal here to be pitting at the end of lap 9, but Elijah Ironhouse should come back out onto a completely clear racetrack. So you might be able to set a couple qualifying laps before everybody catches up with you.
Yeah, and he's got some company back there. He's got Tegan Fox back there, Nathan Meyer, Hayes Green. They all pit with him, so he's going to have...
He should be ahead of all of them, though. So
he will be ahead of all of them, but he does have some benchmarks to compare himself to once they all get back out there.
Absolutely.
But I cannot believe we're already halfway through this race, considering the intensity of the action we've seen so far. And look at the fastest lap at the moment, Alexa Lucian, with a 1:49.9, over 3 seconds faster than the pole time, and almost a second faster than anyone else's set. We're setting the fastest laps we've seen all weekend here in the race.
Yeah, which is absolutely incredible, but I think that it's just obviously the tires have not been a huge issue this weekend, as we continue to say, but, people are learning this track better. They're starting to become comfortable. We're watching them whip around these corners and really come into their own with the learning and understanding of all these corners and the curbs and how to maximize each lap. So just like we've seen out of everybody, but Jake McMillan specifically right now has gotten past both of those cars on this lap, so that's a great move for the 21 heading into this next pit cycle.
Which is starting now as Lucian comes in at the end of lap 10, like we expected, and as we expected as well. Brennan stays out another lap. McMillan did get past both those Fingai Saitomi cars, but he too comes to pit road, and he's bringing DeMax, Zhao, and all them with him. So I'm very curious to see at the end of 19 laps which of these strategies pays off.
I'm so curious about it. I love races with a lot of pit stops. I love watching this one specifically because this track is just so fascinating to watch and see how it all plays out. So the 31 now in the pit lane, and there's everybody who came in from behind. Now remember, the 31 this time had a big lead over a lot of these cars, and you can see it there exiting the pits. So
yeah,
we'll
looks
watch.
like McMillan's having a better stop this time than earlier, so that's good at least. But look at the car that just jumped him. Look at the car that just jumped him out of the pits. Austin Liang in this 82 car. That, like we said at the top of the show, this is his first race with Venta Motorsport. He's on loan from Raving Sunset, and he drove for that team for a couple races already this season. That's a little success there. But this is his first opportunity in a car that we know is capable of running at the front of the field, and he is putting it to good use.
Wow, and he's doing a good job defending against Elijah Ironhouse. Ironhouse with warm tires at this moment, fully up to temperature, so able to make that pass done. But I'll tell you what, that's a very impressive defense there and a good pit stop for that whole team to really gain a lot of spots right there.
And we can confirm now that both Terzic and Blair from that earlier incident are now both out of the race. So that brings our retirement counter to 7 today, which is a little low compared to what I was expecting, but kudos to keeping it mostly clean today, as it looks like Brennan and Kanalka and the FPM cars, they're all coming to pit road this time.
Yeah, and this is the overcut group of cars that we saw. It's a similar group as we saw the last cycle of pit stops. Now this time, the 31 has gained some time on the 8, but the 8 still right there behind.
Yeah, and how about the guy that was racing, Jake McMillan there, Hayes Green in this 23. He was on the undercut strategy. He started 41st today. Now, he's going to probably cycle out to the top 15 when this is all said and done. As Brandon Smith gets a huge pit stop out of his way, and he has got a huge advantage out of this pit lane.
Wow, you have to wonder if maybe there is some 2 or no tire strategy right there, because that is a massive jump on anybody else in this race right now. And here's Lucian coming through the corner, and now is going to have to make a lot of passes to get back to the top of this group, at least right here. Going to have to pass 3 cars now on the warmer tires at this moment before those others have come to full temperature. So we'll see if it's able to happen. But Cameron Brennan, not going to be easy to pass, and neither is the 62 car of Jensen Nomina.
And the 86 and the 62, they are teammates, so Nomina trying to play a little defense, try and give his teammate a little more time, but Lucian is through, back up into a higher position. As Brandon Smith with a huge advantage. He's probably going to have to pit again, maybe even 2 more times at the rate he was going, because I think he did not take tires there at the rate, considering how fast that stop was.
Yeah, and Brandon Smith, that 92, started this race in 19th, so of course we've been documenting that car moving up through the pack today, but of course now to the top of the leaderboard as well. That's just pretty impressive from that whole crew. And yeah, wait a minute, there's contact between Kanalka and Lucian. They're going into the wall. They've lost it.
Out of turn 11, it is Alexa Lucian sliding through the grass sideways, and Nagatsugu Kanalka into the barriers. Oh, and that is going to throw both of their chances at a decent top 5 finish out the window, especially for Alexa Lucian, who had dominated this race up to this point. Oh, yeah, just the slightest bit of contact, and day is pretty much done. That is incredible. I was not expecting that from those 2 drivers at that moment. It just seems a little bit too early to be so aggressive
through these corners, but we've seen how high intensity this race has been. And here's Brandon Smith making a pit stop at a very strange time.
Maybe,
I don't
and this is just a theory, but maybe the reason his stop was so fast is that they didn't get something secure on that car.
Oh, interesting.
And maybe they had to bring it back in to take care of that. Either way, regardless, it's a tough break for Brandon Smith. But back at the front, Elijah Ironhouse actually led the last lap by, as you can see, a very slim margin over Cameron Brennan, and now he's just taking the lead outright. So Elijah Ironhouse to the top spot, with Brennan second, and Nomina trying to work with Austin Liang in a battle for third place.
Yeah, so we will see exactly how this plays out. Now, just have to finalize this. What a heartbreaker for the whole 31 team. It felt like an unnecessary moment, an unnecessary mistake from both the 31 and the 7 in that turn right there when they got off the course. I think that is just a little bit unnecessary at this point in the race, and they both have paid for what happened there. Meanwhile, out front, Elijah Ironhouse starting to pull away, and this is some speed that, this is a running order that I don't think we were really expecting to have.
No, not at all.
At this point in the race,
because look past the top 4. Mac Johnson in the 18, he started 25th today, and he's now up into the top 5. Braden Varga started 29th, he's in the top 10, and like we said, Hayes Green started 41st, and he's now up in the top 10 as well.
Yeah, and additionally, I don't see that number 12 car in the top 10 at all. Somebody who I thought during that first run was possibly going to be the guy to beat, looked extremely fast, but was never able to get past Lucian in the 31. Had a tough pit stop, possibly.
Yeah, there he is in 12th place now.
12th place.
Behind his teammate, Eric DeMax.
Yeah, that is just a tough race so far, but that's how it kind of flows. When you have a lot of pit stops here, you have to be on your game, and these crews aren't regularly tested like this in these extreme, multi-pit stop circumstances that are happening so fast, one after the other. It's a true test of which teams are fully and truly prepared, and right now the 8 car out on top, all cylinders, all parts of that team hitting very, very well.
We're coming to 5 laps to go, and everyone does still have one more pit stop to make.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Cameron Brennan do the overcut again, because he's done that every single time.
Yep.
We know he's capable of extracting 6 laps out of that 86 car, but if he were to do that this time, he'd be in around, lap 18, and that would be coming to the white.
Yeah, that would be pretty fascinating. I'll tell you what, the 8 car is impressive right now. So he was able to get past Cameron Brennan, and then he really just pulls away. I mean, he's over a second ahead right now, and all that is doing is allowing them a little bit of room for error on this pit stop that they're going to make right now. So this is going to be the final pit stop for Elijah Ironhouse. We've seen this car pit on the earlier side of the strategy all day today. I believe that Alexa Lucian would be making a pit stop right now.
Everyone who undercut the second time is now in for the third stop. So Ironhouse is in, Hayes Green, Austin Liang, a few others as well.
This will take them to the end of the race. No problem.
Honestly, if Brennan wanted to pit now, he could, and he could make it to the end from here. So it might be worth doing, because he's got good track position. Of course, his teammate is harassing him for that lead right now. But regardless, he's got great track position. Just don't overthink it too much.
Yeah, and this is tough right now, because if you're Brennan, now you've got that clean air, but you're under fire from the 62. I would be telling these guys, hey, back it off a little bit. Let's set
And Brennan looks like he is going to back off a little bit. He's going to cede to his teammate for now. So Jensen Nomina assumes the lead of the race now, but keep in mind, these guys, they do have to make one more pit stop today. And these two, their infighting has brought Mac Johnson right into the picture.
Yeah, it has, and all it's doing is it's allowing those cars that have just made the undercut to get even more of an advantage, because they are going to be able to just set lap times right now while there's nobody battling them, while there's no other cars really around them on the track. It's just qualifying laps every single time. So we'll see what happens as this whole thing cycles out. But right now, Nomina, I think, is the one I'm really watching because this car looks a little bit faster than the Brennan car.
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? We're coming to 4 laps to go. These three and a bunch of others behind them still have to make their final pit stops, which should be, well...
Oh, Brennan stays out. I'm a little bit surprised Brennan stayed out, but it's not that bad of a strategy. You get that clean air. There's another one staying out. I think that it could really work out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting because Mac Johnson came in with Nomina, so I'm for one, I'm very curious to see who wins this race at the end of lap 19? Because we're on lap 16 now. 4 laps to go. And Cameron Brennan has a nearly 6-second lead over David Meske, but those two have not pit yet. Neither has Wyatt O'Quinn. So this is going to be a fun one. It's already been a fun one.
Oh,
the entire day.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
If there was ever any doubt as to whether we were going to come back here in 2026,
I certainly hope we do. This has been absolutely awesome.
So here is Nomina and Johnson out of the pits. So we'll see who gets the upper hand between those two. Vargas pushing to Max through turn 1 there. And critically, McMillan now comes out behind Hayes Green. That's not what he wanted. And this whole race really has not been what the 21 wanted, considering he started on pole and has yet to lead today.
Yeah, that's absolutely tough. And here is a battle between these two. So this could be possibly for the lead, for the race win between these two. It's always possible. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a good battle right here. Mac Johnson just really pulling away.
Yeah, Nomina had a tight exit out of the previous corner, turn 7. So he had to take a tighter exit. That's compromised him a little bit, and that allowed Mac Johnson to take the preferred line and go through. Now, this is when I would expect Cameron Brennan to make his final pit stop. Yes, and here he comes.
Okay, this is good. So Cameron Brennan.
This is going to be a critical stop, by the way, for this 86 team.
Oh my gosh,
see if they come out ahead of the 18.
Yeah, and we will find out how good. Really, it's that one lap that the 86 had all alone. That is the critical lap that has happened. The pit crew needs to have a regular fast stop right here. No mistakes, but that lap from Cameron Brennan is going to be the one that really determines the difference here. And here is the 18 car. Elijah Ironhouse lost a lot of time on that sequence, at a bad time to lose a lot of time. The final stop.
Gained a lot on the first stop, lost big in the second.
Wow.
Yeah, so Brennan's got a huge advantage out of the pits, and Meske's going to come out ahead of Mac Johnson as well. So if Mac Johnson wants to win this race, he is going to he's going to need 3 laps to make up about 4 seconds.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got to get past that 29 before he can even think about catching the 86.
That is an incredible change of fate for the Cameron Brennan strategy, which I don't know. It kind of seemed like it wasn't really working for a lot of this race. I mean, we saw those undercut drivers always kind of ending up 1 and 2 and then pulling away. And you also had that advantage of the warmer tires. When you got back into traffic, you were able to make those passes during that kind of first lap. They came out of the pits, so we'll see what happens with the 18, but he's got a long way to go to catch that 86. I'm not sure if he has enough time left in this race to do it.
Well, the good news is he dispatched David Meske very quickly. He needed to do that, because if he got held up by that 29 at all, that would have allowed Brennan to just set sail. And I think this 29 is starting to struggle a little bit, because he's now got Austin Liang right on the back of him.
Yeah, he certainly does, and this is that's going to be a couple positions probably lost there, unless it's a really good couple of defensive laps for the 29 car. But yeah, Cameron Brennan right now really looking very, very good, and I'm excited to see the gap between himself and the 18 car. Right now, that gap that's displaying is not exactly correct because it was during that pit cycle, but now we're going to get an updated look.
The gap Mac Johnson's got, well, he gained quite a lot of time. It was about 4 seconds, now it's 2.5. He could get there.
He certainly could get there. Wow, and we would have a great battle between these two cars, I believe. That 18 car is on rails right now. The 86, we know, has been fast all race long. So these two cars battling on the final lap is something that I really, really hope that we have the pleasure of witnessing during this race.
Well, Brennan's just got to keep it on the island, literally. So he's got to keep it nice and clean, no mistakes, and because we've seen passing is possible here, but despite all these great opportunities to do so, it really depends on your momentum. And well, we're coming to the white flag this time by, and for Mac Johnson, he has got to absolutely nail it. Every single corner, maximum all out, to try and catch this 86, and even if he catches them, he's got to find a way around too.
Yeah, and he's only going to have just a couple of corners to do it. I mean, he's going to he certainly won't catch him on this lap. He is going to have to catch him on the last lap if he wants to have a chance. And as soon as you get to that last lap, like every corner, that's the last time you have that opportunity to make a pass in that corner. So we'll see what happens with the 18. I just don't know. He might not be gaining enough time. We'll see what the gap is at the line, but right now he just looks like he's too far back.
Well, I'm sure Cameron Brennan's going to be loving the fact that we're on road courses again, because we're coming to the white flag. He had a good top 10 day at Sonoma, but now he's the star of the show as we come to the white flag this time. One more lap to go.
Yeah, and Cameron Brennan, we'll see what the gap is here, but okay, so a 1 second gain on that last lap, and I'll tell you what, if it continues to be a 1 second gain per lap, the 18 will not catch the 86 car, so it needs to be 0.4 faster or more to be able to gain to catch that 86 car on this lap.
He's going to need to gain. He's going to need like a 2 second gain to be confident about it.
Yeah. So what I'll say about Cameron Brennan, the 38 in the pit stop.
Yeah, and he was running top 10 at the time, so that's a real shame for Wyatt O'Quinn. His rough season continues as he had the pit coming to the white. But for Cameron Brennan, he's had a rough start to this season. He had the sit-out gateway after a Daytona 500 crash, but he's made every race since, before and since, and he never liked the ovals. We knew that much. But once we got to the road courses, he has been shining. He's finished 6th at Sonoma, and now he is on pace to get his first win of the season. But look at the gains Mac Johnson is making.
Yeah, some really, really big gains as they go through turn 10 on this final lap. And I'll tell you what about the 86 car. That is just about the only car in this race that confidently I can say has been a contender through each segment of the race. We saw the difference between those pit stops, that first run, the second run, now our third run as well. This 86 car has been up near the front each and every time. The crew has done a masterful job. Cameron Brennan has done a great job, and now he's on the final straightaway.
No more corners to go. Mac Johnson's bid to catch him has come up short, and for the third time in his career, Cameron Brennan sees the checkered flag, a winner in the One-Up Nitro National Series, his first of the season, and his first since Daytona last fall. Mac Johnson, he gained another second on the final lap. It just wasn't enough, but that is still a career best day for Mac Johnson in the Nitro National Series. Great stuff from the 18. And how about Austin Liang? First career podium, first race with Venta Motorsport. Maybe this will give the team incentive to keep him around a little bit longer. Jensen Nomina, 4th, but puts both Spa cars in the top 5. And David Meske faded the 5th in the end, but still held off Elijah Ironhouse for 6th. Braden Varga from 29th on the grid to 7th. Eric DeMax, 8th. Robert Weaver, we didn't talk about all day, but he comes home in 9th place. That's his best result of the season so far. And Zane Grayson, we didn't talk about him all day either, but this is only his second start of the season, and he brings it home in 10th place, just ahead of Hayes Green, who started 41st today.
Wow, an incredible race. This was so much fun. I mean, I loved the strategy element to it. That first run that we had with everybody fighting for the lead for so long, I mean, that was just exciting, entertaining racing. This track is absolutely fantastic. A job very well done from all our Nitro National Series drivers in this facility.
But conversely, we talked about all the good runs, but For Alexa Lucian, a 25th place finish, not indicative at all of how that team was doing. And same for AJ Zhao in 26th. These two were battling for the lead for the majority of the early portion of the race. Faded late. I'm curious to see how they debrief that one. But we're going to get you some replays of the incidents that took place. There were two we're going to take a look at. One was on the opening lap that saw 4 cars fall out of the race. The other, I think, was around lap 7 that saw Terzic and Blair get knocked out. So we'll get you those in a moment while the cars pull into the pit lane here. So this is where it looks like it all started. Andrew Langley was running just inside the top 30 here. Might get a little bit of help from Skylar Taylor in the 03. They get hooked together. Mike Edwards is along for the ride, and oh man, Skylar Taylor, that is ugly. That is an ugly one for Skylar Taylor. A wild ride, end over end, into the tire barrier. Oh man, that is not what you want to see at any racetrack, let alone here.
That is an unbelievable accident. My goodness, yeah, they were just 3 wide, and they kind of just all came together there on the straightaway, and that's a horrible place to have an accident. Wow.
This is going into the heaviest braking zone on the entire lap, and yeah, they just all got hooked together, and he just hit the wall at the worst possible angle. He got carried basically by Maston Rimmel on his roof into the tire pack. Not good.
No, that is a really, really ugly looking accident for Skylar Taylor, and I'll tell you what, that's just, I mean, I don't know if there's really anybody at fault for that. It was just kind of everybody got together, and then, really awful circumstances when cars start bouncing like that.
One more look at this from above, and they all kind of converge on one spot, and that's really, Langley took a hard hit as well into that inside wall.
Right back into the racing line. Oh my gosh, that is... Yeah, because you crash to the right of the track there, and then it's a right-hand turn coming up. So what's everybody supposed to do? The racetrack is just working against them at that point, so nobody can avoid that. I mean, oh gosh.
So it's through this roller coaster section of 3 and 4. Oh, it is the teammates that come together. Blair and Shank with Terzic just right on the outside. Nowhere for any of those guys to go.
Oh, thankfully those tires were there. That was a really hard lick into that corner. And I'll tell you what, it looked like the 5 just dropped a wheel off the track a little bit, and you have to compensate so much to get back onto the track that it was just too many cars in one spot right there. That total accident.
Yeah, tough break for that one racing team as well. Both their cars involved in that. I'm amazed actually that Jared Schenk was able to continue through all that, because that was a pretty big impact for him. But that's our Hawaii race. Boy, what was that fun for everyone that finished, and especially for Cameron Brennan. I hate to be the bearer of bad news for him, but next time out, we're back on the ovals for at least 3 more rounds. The first of those being at Denver Motorsports Park. That's going to be a lot of fun, too, because that place has always been fun for whenever One-Up rocks up there. It's going to be a great time for us and for the fans and for the drivers. It's going to be great, I promise. So, with that being said, from Duke Anzac and from myself as well, what a great first race we've had on the Big Island. That was a great day of racing. Congrats to Cameron Brennan, who timed his strategy to perfection and just barely held off a hard-charging Mac Johnson to get his and Sanders Performance Autosports' first win of 2025.